iyong buong tapang harapin ang buhay, yakapin ang tagumpay. Tulungan ng kapwa at bigyang halaga, huwag hatakin ng pababa. Isipin huwag sana ang sarili lang, pakisama't bayanihan. Subukan nating isulong at ligawan ang magandang bukas. Ikaw at ako magkasama tayo sa lubungin ng kinabukasan.
The marker that will be installed becomes a vessel for future generations to understand the context of our past, appreciate who we are now at present, and aspire to who will we become in the future.
Panahon Ina't hawakan ng aking kamay, sabay abutin natin ang tagumpay. Patuloy lang tayo sa pagpapanday, tiwala sa Diyos ang sandat at gabay. Subukan natin isulong at ligawan ng magandang bukas. Ikaw at ako magkasama tayo sa lubungin ng kinabukasan.
To all of you, we dedicate this historic landmark because without the 17th marker, the expedition of Ferdinand Magellan and Sebastian Elcano would not have been complete. They could not have been said that they have circumnavigated the world because a great part of their journey would be missing. So each 34 markers would be very important, singularly and as a whole.
Pilipino sa makabago.
More importantly, kini moong marker mas na-enhance pa og maayo tungod sa Dumaguete's own interpretation. Thanks to Mayor Ipe and the city of Dumaguete. With this iconic symbol depicting Dumaguete's own interpretation of this symbolic marker. Bisan asa ka karon, makadungog na ka sa mga pangutana, nakakita na baka sa barko ni Magellan tuad didto sa Dumaguete. Niabot na di ay ang barko ni Magellan sa Dumaguete.
Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Tonight. We're very fortunate and privileged to have with us a national figure in the national politics, in the national government. We have with us Cabinet Secretary Karlo, Alexie, Nograles. How do I call you? Secretary Nograles? Secretary Karlo? Karlo? Secretary Karlo.
People call me Capsec.
Capsec.
To distinguish among the alam sa
Precisely.
Capsec.
Our viewers might be wondering ba't nakamarong tayo ng Jufar?
Galing tayo sa
there was this, we just had this activity, it's the Quincentennial, 500 years of Magellan's travel. Dumaguete is one of the places in Israel.
Very proud. Very proud. Dumaguete was one of the places. This is part of the circumnavigation. Sa ito pa, this is his tour around the world, and it proved that the earth was not flat. It was round. Kaya circumnavigation. Ilibot ang tibok kalibutan, which is sa nasong Pilipinas. And we're very fortunate, and it's a historic event. Agi siya sa Dumaguete.
Yeah. Could you possibly tell our viewers how significant is this marker that we have in Nograles?
It's a significant event. It's a worldwide international celebration. So we're part of this world celebration. We're very proud to be part of this. This is this 500-year celebration in Centennial. Is a significant event, particularly this time of pandemic, I suppose. Daghang mga symbolisms na makita ninyo today. Circumnavigation was a tour, a route around the world. COVID is all around the world. But the circumnavigational route also of this Magellan journey also signifies against all odds, against many multiple challenges.
Correct.
They were able to conquer. So for us also, around the world, we hope to be able to conquer this pandemic. And then, coincidentally, pagkabot na dito sa Mactan, he met his match in Lapu-Lapu.
Yes.
And Lapu-Lapu, we all know, Lapu-Lapu vanquished and won over Magellan forces. So for us in the Philippines, also think of that as foreign conqueror called COVID-19 coming into our shores. And we hope to be able to conquer this virus once and for all.
Secretary Nograles, I noticed that you're very close to Mayor Rivera here. How did you and Mayor Rivera came to each other?
One me, fraternity brothers. So siya ang akong senior boss, senior brother sa fraternity.
So when you say fraternity brothers, let's say, both of you went to Ateneo.
Ateneo Law School. So this is a fraternity that's exclusively sa Ateneo Law School.
Yeah.
Not college, law school. So most of us, yung mga members sa Philaletis, are lawyers. Some were not able to finish law, some did not become lawyers. Most of us are lawyers. So that's how I got to know Mayor Pipe. In fact, ang tawag na mo sa iya is not Pipe, Ping. Mas nailan na mo si Mayor as Mayor Ping, Boss Ping.
I like hearing it.
It's Ipe. So, medyo wala pa kumaanat sa Ipe. Ping kita natin. Okay lang.
Secretary Nograles, let's talk about your impressions of Dumaguete City and of our Mayor Mary.
Well, obviously very biased. Mayor Pipe is one of my favorite fraternities in the Nograles. And he's very, well, first of all, he loves Dumaguete. You can see that from the get-go, tama yung pagmahal ng pagpanggap sa Dumaguete. He's very, very proud. Every time exploring mo sa fraternity, it's always Dumaguete business. So, proud kayo siya. And he always likes to entertain. Wala pa'y COVID. He likes to entertain people from all over the Philippines. Even fraternity brats and friends come to Dumaguete because he's mightily proud of Dumaguete. Well, right now, I will always say, again, biased, Dumaguete among the many places that I've been to, whether it was the time na nakako sa Congress, or now as Cabinet Secretary, before COVID, even here during COVID. Dumaguete City, I don't know, I have this, I always feel good when I come to Dumaguete. I always feel comfortable here.
Yes.
I always feel welcome. It has this very cool vibe, like relaxed, very welcoming. I feel at home here. I speak the language. Taga Davao, Cebuano speaking, so hindi na ako maglisod. Anin na diri, Cebuano speaking na yun.
Yes.
Dali lang kayo istorya sa mga tao diri.
Yes.
And I don't know, it's just this vibe that I feel again. It's very welcoming. You obviously know that's the place of the gentle people. So that you live to its promise. Of course, the food, fantastic. Grabe, I cannot overemphasize how much I love the food of Dumaguete. seafood, everything.
Yeah.
And the people, I really enjoy the company of the people. Again, I say I'm biased.
Coming from Secretary Nograles, that's really good to hear na ganyan yung impression siya about Dumaguete of our Mayor Mary. Not everybody was there during this afternoon, so may you briefly share, just a part of, to our viewers, some of the highlights of your message during that particular event, Panilongon 2021 20th commemoration.
Well, not many people know about Dumaguete as being part of that route of Magellan. So basically, in the Philippines, between March 16 all the way up to October, we will be unveiling 34 markers.
Right.
34 important historical markers from in Visayas, Palawan, and Mindanao. So basically, that is the route that Magellan ship touched. So this is actually number 17, the 17th marker of the 34 markers that we are about to unveil in the course of this year. 2021. This has been a long time planning. We have a Quincentennial Committee, kaya mga plano, nilindot ang mga plano, and then COVID happened. So many people are asking, yun ba, tuloy ba ito? Ano gawin natin? And knowing the indomitable Filipinos, we just continue. We just have to do it safely, using minimum public health standards and minimum health procedures, practices. So, and then here, of course, there's a lot of challenges, both for the local government unit and the national government. So it's a very significant event. We were able to unveil this event marker. The marker, if you go to the boulevard dito, kita nimo, it has the marker contains a little description of what that marker signifies. Yeah, sa other side of the marker is basically an artist's rendition of that very significant event, created by very celebrated Filipino artists. But what is different with this at Dumaguete, while in some areas na i-install lang a marker, here, we actually created a boat. The ship of Magellan.
Alam mo naman sabihin.
And what is equally impressive is that he was able to do it in roughly a month and a half.
Correct.
And that's amazing. I mean, hats off to him. Saludo kita kay Diri Lalim. Diri Lalim mag-execute ng anak. Kagwapo kanimbot. Hinanak at akukod. It's not a small project, it's a big project. And it's a depiction of Magellan's ship. And then the marker is there. And in the middle of it. No? So, in my speech, yung lagi ko, daghan na, karoon pa lang daan, ang nagapangutana, niabot na di ay ang barko ni Magellan. Tuwa dito sa Dumaguete. Naana di ay ang barko ni Magellan sa Dumaguete. Tuwa dito sa Boulevard. So, it's actually a very proud moment. And I keep telling Mary na kini, because it's very iconic, sigurado daghan ang mag-selfie, daghan ang mag-Facebook, daghan mag-Instagram. And that's gonna go viral all over. And mag-ibog kinuha ng tanang tao, and everybody will be waiting to come to Dumaguete, visit the boulevard, and see this great ship of Magellan.
Well said, Secretary. Now, not many of our viewers may know exactly what to do for the third administration. Now, as Cabinet Secretary, what do you exactly do for President?
Classic. Everything under the sun, basically. But if the job description entails, number one, I take care of cabinet meetings. So we have cabinet meetings every month. So the agenda of the cabinet meetings has to pass to me. Kung ako yung clearing house, hindi pwede ma-agenda unless na-clear sa among little committee. So we have a small committee. It's not small. It's a committee of different departments.
Okay.
We call it a cabinet assistance system. It's like a clearing house. So, maagi na sa cabinet assistance system, we vet it before we elevate it to cabinet for action of the president. During the cabinet meeting, upon the presentation, when the president gives his directive, then we follow up. Over and above that, I also am assigned to do the inter-agency, inter-department coordination, synchronization. So all efforts of government are, it's synchronized, coordinated. It's one collaborative effort. So that's kaya nauso yung tinatawag na whole of government approach. So we like to ensure that the different departments and agencies don't work in silos. Murag na kanya-kanya, ako'y pakialam sa imo, basta ako, mga So kami, ang style namo is no, ang gusto ng presidente is synchronize that. Which is something that we're seeing now against COVID. That's why this IATF against COVID is an interagency task force. So si Secretary Duque is the chairman. Because I'm in charge of coordination, I'm co-chair to him dito sa task force. And there are different other task forces that I also chair that necessarily needs the synchronization of government. One is zero hunger. So, problema sa COVID, problema po sa kagutom, napun na sa among task force, zero hunger. And then, believe it or not, in Yolanda.
Wow.
Even sa task force Yolanda, it's something that I'm also handling because that's also an interagency task force and we continue to build houses. But this time around, we've been just turning over mga housing units. So we've been turning over mga housing units doon sa mga Yolanda beneficiaries yung mga apektuhan sa typhoon nila.
Now at present, Secretary, you are also the national, as you said, national IATF chairperson. How challenging, I'm sure it is this additional responsibility of managing the national and coordinated response against COVID-19?
Very, 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 very challenging. You can only imagine what you have to go through. In fact, bilib kayo po sa Dumaguete, sa Negros Oriental because your numbers are, very, very much manageable. Given the fact na ang pinakaunang COVID, niyari direct. Hindi kan sa Wuhan, direct. But that was our first case of COVID. That was not our first local transmission. But diba, she came here, nagkisita sila sa Cebu, sa Dumaguete, that was January of 2020. Our first local transmission was March. But remember, as early as January, we already constituted and called meetings for the task force against COVID. And it's been challenging ever since, because so good, we had to close our borders. There was a lot of discussion on do you close the borders only to China or to other areas? Then it expanded, and after that, we were good from January to March until March, so that we were closing borders, no? And then our borders from those na doing COVID, and then pagpatak sa March, dito na, nagkaroon ka sa ating local, first local transmission. And then, yun na, nagkaroon ng ECQ. So, lahat yan, nag-uusapan, ECQ, quarantine, tanan-tanan. And then it's been a lot of up and down. First, it was in NCR, then Luzon, then from Luzon, over to sa Visayas, and Mindanao. Then we had to coordinate everybody sa tanamang LGUs. We had to create and coordinate with regional task force, regional IATFs, ganyan, and then had to coordinate different LGUs, klase-klase pang interpretations, and LGUs. So it's been quite challenging, but I think we all have our different challenges. And as a national, and even in the local, you have your own little finer details that you have to manage. I'm sure si Mayor has been on the ball from the start. And been really imposing lahat ng mga kailangan na impose just to contain the spread. And you've been able to drive your cases down. But I know na those that were, most of the positives came from outside. They come here and then and then spike na naman, and then control na naman. So it's that all over. And now we're in the vaccination mode. So the vaccines is another challenge.
Precisely.
Not to our own liking or to our own fault also, because it's really a global supply
Okay.
challenge.
Secretary Nograles, what is the National Economic Recovery Plan that the government meets the COVID-19 pandemic? And what will it take for the country's economy to fully?
Well, that's really a very challenging and tall order. You know? Of course, pag sinasabi mo kasi yung economy, I think mas nararamdaman ng tao when you talk about employment and livelihood. So, ang bottom line naman dyan is, you don't really see or feel economy. What you really see and feel is how many people are actually working or doing negosyo o doing mga pangulang. Okay. So last May 1, we launched the National Employment Recovery Strategy. Okay. NERS, we like to call it the NERS program. And basically what it does is it synchronizes all of the programs, activities, and projects in government that has to do with livelihood, employment, and training. Okay. So, ang nag-lead yan is the DTI, DOLE, and TESDA. So, for livelihood, micro, small, and medium enterprises, that's DTI. For DOLE, sa kanya yung employment. And then for TESDA, training. So, the training, of course, what we want to do is we want to be able to upskill our workers, especially those who work in tobacco. By upskilling them, maybe we can give them the skills necessary for them to find employment or create their own livelihood. Yes. So that's TESDA. So we're now between now until the end of the term ni Karlo, we will now be dedicating a lot of our test and training via sa upskill. So natin sa skills ng workers. Hopefully, to enable them to find jobs or create for their own livelihoods. Number 2, sa employment na naman, that's DOLE. So what DOLE now is doing is taking up all of the job vacancies na pwede na as an industry.
Yeah.
Gathering all of the information and trying to match jobs with those looking for employment. Okay, job matching ang DOLE. And of course, kasama na dyan yung emergency employment programs nila. And then DTI is there to ensure na magtugang suporta ng mga micro, small, and medium enterprises because they're the ones that really provide 90% of the employment in the Philippines. Okay. Gikan din sa MSMEs natin. So, dahan mga MSMEs, kailangan ng kapital, may mga utang, or may mga pangilihanlan, support, then that's where DTI comes in. Over and above that, there are 2 major programs that we hope to be able to push the economy forward. The build programs and the plant programs. Plant. Wow. So agriculture and infrastructure. Okay. Agriculture, well, obviously, nakita natin sa pandemyang ito, food is really just a basic necessity. Okay, pagkaon, buto ng tao, and we really come to appreciate that agricultural sector is really a must. We have to be, for resiliency purposes, we have to be able to produce our own food.
Yeah.
Right? And we're lucky, no? We're lucky na we're unlike other countries that have to import food. So I cannot imagine how countries who are dependent on food imports are able to survive. Because syempre, kung sa vaccine lang namin, nilugay na ang vaccine, how much more sa pagkakon. At least tayo, we are able to produce our food. So we really have to do that, not only to produce food, but also to help the agricultural sector, farmers, fishing folk, etc. Then of course, build. So build also creates a lot of jobs. The more there's construction, the more there's infrastructure projects, then we are able to provide employment also to a lot of people. It's a force multiplier in terms of employment and also pagtulong sa contact. No? If there's infrastructure, if there are projects going on, then we can be assured that money or funds goes to different parts of the country. Don't look at it as just construct a dito. No, because we have to pay the workers there. Then the money goes to the workers. The workers spend. So ang pagkain nila, ang pamasahe, ang everything. So they spend, so money circulates. So those are things that help circulate money and provide economic activity. Tapos domino.
Now, in your estimation, Secretary, when will the country be ready for, and they can fully and safely reopen to international travel?
Oh, that's a tough one. In fact, even other countries don't have an answer to that. Of course, there are a lot of suggestions where we can start with a country-to-country bubble.
Okay.
Like what Australia and New Zealand is doing. So sila muna, neighbors. I believe Malaysia and Singapore is also going to try that. Okay, because they're all part of the same island, really. So it's Malaysia, Singapore. So maybe that can be something that we might be able to look at in terms of travel. Wala namang problema sa cargo. Okay naman ang cargo, walang problema. But it's people traveling. Of course, tayo, wala man tayong problema sa paglabas. I mean, OFWs are going out, those who want to go out, that's not a problem because depende lang naman yan sa country or destination. But I think your question is more about a lot of speculation na can we have a vaccination passport that will somehow enable us to travel from one country to the next as long as we can show that we're fully vaccinated and vice versa. And that's for tourism. Yun yung medyo, it's a lot of wait and see. I think the priority right now is the vaccination rollout sa and then maybe later on, then we can start talking about vaccine passports, countries accepting tourists now from the Philippines and vice versa. Just after you are able to show that you've been fully inoculated or vaccinated. So it's a work in progress, and I think that's the same for different countries.
Now, what stage are we now in terms of bringing the country now in the timeline of COVID-19 rollout?
Sa vaccines.
Yes.
Well, like I said kanina, it's just really a matter of supply. Kung ready to roll out, we're ready to roll out. But again, it's a factor dyan yung supply. And we're lucky that we're able to get vaccines from China and Russia. And we're not really dependent on just one country or one manufacturer. And that's deliberate. Kaya dili ko natin gusto na pipit na may ipit ka. Kaya saan, tungkol sa likta po sa India, then a lot of the vaccines that they're producing, hindi na po nila gustong pagawas. Kaya concentrate nila sa ilang nason.
That's right.
So if we had been dependent on India, then malangan po na natin ang vaccination websites. Yes. Then of course, in the Western world, we also have other brands like Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. Okay. But again, medyo dugay. Katong indicative timeline nato gikan sa ilang vaccines is dito pa sa mid-year nato or third quarter, fourth quarter. Again, because they're concentrating on their own countries as well.
That's right.
So, it would appear na right now, we're getting most of our vaccines, all of our vaccines from China, and the next one is Russia. And but the Western vaccines, we will be getting the bulk of them come third quarter and fourth quarter. But when it comes, it will come in big waves. No? So, kung karon murag nakapaka sa 3 million per month, 4 million per month, 5 million per month, later on it will be 10 million per month, and then 15 million per month. And that 15 million per month will come August, September, October, November, December. Ganyan. Remember, when you say 15 million per month, that means you have to vaccinate 3 million people per week. Nationwide, yeah.
Okay. So, in terms of finances, what's the total amount of the national government appropriated for procurement?
72.5. But ano naman yun, nakatabi na yan, most of it will be through the loan. Eh, may loan facility tayo. And the reason why we went through that process is because at that point, remember, nag-agawan ng vaccine eh. Nilagay sa vaccine.
Yeah.
And we were bogged down by our procurement laws. Kaya ang procurement laws na to sa national Pilipinas is unless you're able to show me the product, then we cannot procure it. Hindi pwede mag-advance procurement for something that is still in the stages of getting an FDA approval. And at that point, this was a race for the vaccines. Ibang mga countries that order na may mga supply agreements. And if we had been bogged down by this procurement laws, guess what? We might not have the vaccines right now.
Yes.
Because ang mangyari niyan, kung bogged down ka sa procurement laws ninyo, then you'll have to wait for the FDA approval before you even sign a supply agreement. So ang itabuan niya is because of this financing agreement, loans that we've gotten from OED and from World Bank also, then sigurado ang supplier na bayaran sila, of course, World Bank. So we were able to sign already supply agreements, we were able to negotiate with them, and all of that. So that's the story behind the story. And but we're and it's paid off. It's paid off. Now we've signed supply agreements, and kumbaga we've done our part. We've done our part. Kaunat na lang po tayo. The manufacturers will do their part and start shipping it to us. But they've always said naman, some of them, they've always said naman that as far as the Western vaccines are concerned, talagang mid-year. Okay. So we are really dependent now on the Chinese vaccines and the Russian vaccines. We had wanted sana those vaccines coming from India na dapat nagsakay din because of what's happening in their country.
Secretary Nograles, may you share with us the salient provisions of Senate Bill 2057 seeking to expedite the purchase of all of COVID-19?
Actually, I don't know what is in that Senate bill.
Okay.
I think lahat naman ng ginagawa natin, nandiyan naman eh. When we say tripartite agreement, it's because this is not naman well, first of all, hindi naman natin hinaharangan ang LGUs at ang mga private companies to procure the vaccine on their own. So, wala kaming problema dyan. But remember, kasi maglibog ang tao, this is not a commercial transaction. This is not marketing transaction. This is not a marketing agreement. This is an emergency use authorization.
Yes.
So it's not for commercial purposes. It's not as if ipaligya na or in other words, hindi ka pwede mag-procure ka and then ipaligya din yung sinabi.
Yeah.
Because this is an emergency use authorization from the FDA.
Yeah.
And therefore, that necessitates a tripartite agreement. And tripartite means tulong parties. Three-party, tripartite. Ang ikatulong nga party diha is the national government. Why? Number one, because it's the national government that's taking charge of the rollout. Ang national government ang in charge po that we follow the international protocols, especially of the WHO. They have a priority list that we have to follow. Otherwise, pupunta. And number three, remember, yung indemnity.
Yeah.
And also yung what happens kung may adverse effects. No? Inaasahan naman natin na walang magkaroon ng adverse effects. But if in case meron, the national government has to come in. And that's the reason why you have to have a national government. Again, it's it's because of this whole circumstance that these are not vaccines for sale. These are not vaccines for commercial use and purpose. These are all emergency use vaccines. So that's the reason why it's type 5. Pero, you know, there's an office in the office of Secretary Galvez. There's a particular office there that takes charge of helping facilitate any tripartite. Okay, so that just goes to show na wala kaming hinaharangan dito.
Okay.
But you just have to pass the process.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the national IATF has decided to exempt government workers and all travelers from undergoing mandatory testing and quarantine in LGUs to their destination. What prompted you, the national IATF, to reach this decision?
Actually, yung ano pinaka-ano dyan is yung quarantine. Ang pinaka-gist naman talaga is the quarantine. So when national government workers go to a particular LGU or province, tapos ipa-quarantine siya for how many days?
For 30 days.
Then, medyo mahirapan na yun. Medyo mag-suffer ang ating ang servisyo. We cannot afford any delays in service in the national government, especially in this time of pandemic. So that was really the pinaka-gist na mabit ginalikayan na nga mahitago. But that being said, alam mo yun, ang ating mga government workers cannot travel without a travel choice coming from his superior, right? And so it behooves upon the superior or the head of the agency or department to ensure kung magpadala siya ng tao dito sa laing lugar, then he has to ensure na kung mga ipadala niya are all screened properly.
Correct.
Para dili po makataga. Kung wala siya ito ng sakit, mabit niya dito. So, kumbaga, the responsibility belongs to the national government agency head. And that's really the story behind the story. And but it's really the quarantine dili po natin ma-afford kay madali po services.
Secretary, it's no secret that your family is no stranger to government service. In fact, your father, Prospero Nograles, served as Speaker of the House. Now, coming from this kind of family, how do you deal with the high expectations among your peers and the people in your family? You being a very young public servant.
Actually, to tell you honestly, Doc, I just try not to think about it.
Yeah.
Not in that way.
Yes.
I only think about it as there's a job to be done. Not a responsibility, not a obligation. Mauna ko ng Karlo because he was the one who appointed me and put me here. And my current responsibility, I was appointed by him to a job. And mauna ko sa tao. I mean, it's kinaiya maganda ko na I have a responsibility to do. I must, take it to heart and do it well. Not only my responsibility to the people, but also responsibility to a higher calling, a higher being. In my case, it might be God. So my purpose.
Yes.
Basically, it's not everybody is given the responsibility and obligation, and it's really a responsibility that I don't take lightly. It's something. Siguro parehas lang yung mayor. It's the same sort of thinking. Just do your job and do it well.
Si Mayor, going back, Secretary, to vaccination, si Mayor Ikea has allocated about 30 million for vaccine procurement. Is there a way that the national IATF could help LGUs, especially Dumaguete City, to to be able to inoculate about 105,000, or representing 70% of the city's population from COVID-19. Is that possible for the national government coming in?
Yeah, actually, I already I spoke here about this.
Yes.
I gave him the contact persons already, Office of Secretary in charge, that will help things along or help facilitate if he needs help in terms of seeing a tripartite agreement with whatever brand is available. Because number one, you have to find out which brands are available and supply. And it's not as simple as that because not all brands also agree to a tripartite. So you have to also see which brand agrees to a tripartite. So it's basically a supply and also an issue or concern. Do they have the supply? And number two, are they willing to enter tripartite? So you need a person who knows that. And so I gave you already the contact person's office.
Very good.
So hopefully that will move along. Hopefully they'll be able to find a suitable vaccine candidate.
Very good.
That being said, whether or not magkaroon ng tripartite agreement at Dumaguete, for instance, we will make sure that Dumaguete gets its allocation of vaccines. So in fact, ang pangutana sa mga NGOs, it's an advantage na po. I enter into a tripartite kung assured naman ka sa national government na tagaan eh. But because ang procurement ng national government is enough already to secure all of the population. Plus, ang mga NGO nag-procure nila, plus na ako yung mga private sector na nag-procure ko rin nila. So, hindi ba sobra-sobra na? Bakit ako kailangan pa mag-ngita o vaccine brand and mag-ngita pa tripartite? The answer is, advantage sa mga LGUs that have tripartite agreements with a particular brand is may assurance ang LGU na whatever happens, that LGU will have that brand. So, nangita, ang ibang LGUs, mga nauna na kuhan sila sa AstraZeneca. Tripartite sila sa AstraZeneca. So, whatever happens, then they are assured na when the AstraZeneca finally delivers its batch to the LGUs have the AstraZeneca. But, what about the other LGUs na wala nakikita sa AstraZeneca na tripartite? Then, they will have to make do with what is currently in the stock of the national government. So, kung Sinovac na, Sinovac. Kung Gamaleya, hindi makapili ang LGU. So, yun lang yung difference.
That's it.
But again, we always say, the best vaccine is the vaccine that is already available. So, if your turn is up, if your turn comes, you take whatever vaccine there is. Di ba? Because lahat naman yan is halos pare-pareha lang naman. One just needs a colder storage. Like Gamaleya needs negative 18 degrees Celsius for storage. And Pfizer needs negative 20 or something like that, negative 70. Okay, diba? Moderna needs negative 20. So, but it's a vaccine is a vaccine is a vaccine.
Well, that's it. Now, I don't want to put you on the spot. After your stint in the Duterte administration, what's next for Secretary Nograles?
Ako, I actually do not know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm okay wherever God leads me. I'm okay wherever life leads me. So, but right now we're just concentrating on the work. We're concentrating on this fight against COVID-19. I'm also concentrating on the fight against hunger. That's also mine. I'm finishing up mga nabiling ng mga balay na kilala natin pang turnover sa mga Yolanda beneficiaries. And many other things aside sa ako president. So we're just concentrating on that. And I always say, I'm a member of a particular political party. PDP, right? which happens to have us our chairman, the president himself. Okay, so I always say na, you know, that political side of me will just take care of itself, right? Because I'm a part of the party, I'm a part of the political party, and president's our chairman, right? So decisions will be made, whatever decisions will be, mabigat naman yung decision ko. So that's why I say it will take care of itself. So I can leave that team. Right? Kumbaga, we have the I guess luxury or the advantage of being able to leave that team, but to have its own course, so that we can concentrate on the job. So I don't need to be bothered about that or look at that. Kaya, ayos Pangulo, siya ang bahala. Partida naman yung ang bahala. They will have its own decision-making process. Right? And so, you know, they take care of its own, so I can focus on the job.
Well said, Secretary. At this juncture, I'd like to ask for your final message of thoughts for the people of Dumaguete City and to people of Negros Oriental. May possibility mo, ano? Para tingnan natin talaga. Para may
Okay.
talaga.
So, salamat kayo sa
Yes.
mga kayo.
Salamat, Secretary.
I think this is my second time.
Second time. Yes.
Yohanan. And it's always a pleasure to guest this programa. Tungkol kay, you know, you can speak your heart out. It's very casual.
Correct, yes.
And sama-sama ngayon yun na I just feel at home and comfortable. You know? Not only Dumaguete, but also in your show.
Correct. Thank you.
So to the good, gentle people of Dumaguete, yung kay ko na kapalik ko din. At a very historical time. Last time ko nakain here was pre-COVID pa. Kung nanayo pa kong Zumba, pwede pa manayo ang Zumba, it was in this vast field of yours. Ito yung athletic field niya.
Correct. This sa quadrangle. Yeah.
That was like a health program, which very active si Mayor Pipin. Coincidentally, nagkakot ng mga ginahimo sa health and nutrition kay Zero Hunger Task Force. So, I just remembered that was the last time. After COVID happened, sige ko nawala na tayo sa tumatapig sa Dumaguete, hasta ang pagkakas sa Dumaguete. So, hindi tayo nangyapon tugmo. Doon na pa isa, there's also one event na nag-turn over ng mga boats para sa Blue Farms, mag-share po. But not Dumaguete, Negros Oriental. Anyway, lipay ko na nakabalik ko din. Lipay ko na nag-take part sa unveiling sa pinaka-importanting marker. And karang marker is not just a symbol, not just a historic symbol, but it's also an iconic symbol. And it will be a tourism spot, I believe you. Kung daghan ng nagtanaw sa Facebook, may nag-Facebook live, daghan ng naibo. Kay Perting Mundulta, wapo tayo. Congratulations kay Mayor Peck. Bili galing kung iyang liguan in 1.5 months. Ang human niya ang Marco ni Magellan. Aging simbolo kung papagwapo nag-enhance dito sa historic market. And forever, Dumaguete will be remembered as part of that history sa circumnavigation journey ni Magellan around the world. Nakaalis siya dito sa Dumaguete. People from around the world when they come to the new normal can always come to Dumaguete and not just taste your delicious food and meet the gentle people of Dumaguete City, but be a part of history, be a part of history and remember. Sa mga mag-selfie, sa mga mag-Facebook, mag-Instagram dito, right now, just make sure you practice social distancing. Wear your face mask and face shield. And congratulations sa inyo. I hope you continue the good work in terms of keeping the transmissions at bay. Maraming kasalapan kontra COVID, maraming kasalapan kontra sa sa ibang pamapipil, gutom, kawato, pangan na ito ang kagusal, pangan na ito ang mga kaigsunan natin na nangyayari sa atong tao. Sa laban natin against COVID-19, ang sigurado sa patuloy natin na pagkakaisa at kaisa kita. Makabangon na kita. Makabangon kitang talan. Kung siyempre pa, amping importante kung pagpinabahan. So, salamat kayo.
Secretary Karlo, Nograles, sir, salamat po tayo. It was very pleasure to her. So, glad we didn't come here. That's all.
Always a pleasure. Salamat na.
Do like and follow us on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts. And please do like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's our show for tonight. I'm Dok Dinno. Be well.
Uparin ang takot sa iyong damdamin, ipamalas ang angking galing. Tumayong buong tapang, harapin ang buhay, yakapin ang tagumpay. Tulungan ng kapwa't bigyang halaga, huwag hatakin ng pababa. Isipin huwag sana ang sarili lang, pakisama't bayanihan. Subukan natin isulong at ikawan ang magandang bukas. Ikaw at ako magkasama tayo sa lubungin ng kinabukasan.
The marker that will be installed becomes a vessel for future generations to understand the context of our past, appreciate who we are now at present, and aspire to who will we become in the future.
Panahon Halina't hawakan ng aking kamay, sabay abutin natin ang tagumpay. Patuloy lang tayo sa pagpapanday, tiwala sa Diyos ang sandat at gabay. Subukan natin isulong at ligawan ng magandang bukas. Ikaw at ako magkasama tayo sa lubungin ng kinabukasan.
To all of you, we dedicate this historic landmark because without the 17th marker, the expedition of Ferdinand Magellan and Sebastian Elcano would not have been complete. They could not have been said that they have circumnavigated the world because a great part of their journey would be missing. So each 34 markers would be very important, singularly and as a whole.
Pilipino sa makabago.
More importantly, kini moong marker mas na-enhance pa og maayo tungod sa Dumaguete's own interpretation. Thanks to Mayor Ipe and the city of Dumaguete. With this iconic symbol depicting Dumaguete's own interpretation of this symbolic marker. Bisan asa ka karon, makadungog na ka sa mga pangutana, nakakita na baka sa barko ni Magellan tuwa dito sa Dumaguete. Niabot na di ay ang barko ni Magellan sa Dumaguete.
Hey!